Welcome back to the Nerdy Grill and welcome to a brand new Pokemon ranking video here on the channel. Now, the last time I did a Pokemon ranking video, I ranked every single legendary Pokemon from Generation 1 all the way up to Generation 9. So if you'd like to check out that video before checking out this video, then please feel free to do so, and I'll leave a link in the description down below for you. Now, in that video, I did mention that I was going to do a separate video for mythical Pokemon and also for like regional variants of, say, legendary Pokemon. But what I'm thinking of doing is this is just going to be for mythical Pokemon from Gens 1 to 9. And then I might do a separate video where I might rank regional forms. I won't include Megas in that because I have already done a video on Megas. But I will include any regional legendaries there, like the Dialga and Palkia, or the legendary bird trio from Gala. I'll include all those in maybe a regional form video, where I'll talk about like Alolan forms and stuff like that. So that might be an upcoming video in the future. So we're just going to focus on the mythical Pokemon. There's nowhere near as many mythical Pokemon as there is legendary Pokemon. And there's some mythical Pokemon, if I'm being honest, that I'm a bit like, should they really be mythicals? Should they just not be legendaries? And I'll get to those when I get to those, but I kind of can see why they are mythical. But just in my opinion, I think maybe they should have just been legendaries, just because they're powerful enough to be so. But yeah, without any further ado, let's remember that whenever I do these lists, this is just my personal opinion, so if you disagree with my list, then that is perfectly fine, but just make sure you keep all comments respectful, please, because obviously I might put one of your favourites on the bottom, but I might put one of your least favourites also on the top. So just let's have a little look and let's see where we get on. Now, my relationship with mythicals is a lot different to legendaries. There's some that I absolutely adore, and some that I'm still a bit like, why are you a thing? And what even are you, you know? So let's go through it. So obviously, to start with, from Generation 1, from the Kanto region, we have got Mew, which Mew is adorable. And there's some games where you can just get given a Mew. I still never forget the first time playing Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which is another reason why those games are way too easy apart from the Elite Four. And yeah, just not good remakes, is they just gift you a Mew if you have played, I believe it's Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. So you can have a Mew from the very beginning of the game, more or less, just after Gym Badge number 1. Mew is a good Pokemon, it can learn any TM, you know, and it is cute. I wouldn't quite say like Mewtwo, though, it is the best, but I would say it is great. So I'm definitely going to put Mew up there in great, because it is a great Pokemon. Then from Generation 2, we have Celebi. Now, I always remember watching the Celebi movie, Pokemon Forever, with the dark balls and all that, and Celebi in the forest. I remember that movie, and I loved that movie, and it was fantastic. Celebi is not one that I've tended to use very often, but I do find that Celebi is really, really cute, and I do love Celebi. So I'm a bit of two minds about Celebi. But I am also going to put Celebi up in great because I do love it a fair bit, and I love its design. It's just like a giant fairy onion. Then we've got Jirachi. Now, the movie Jirachi Wishmaker also was one of my favourite Pokemon movies at the time. I still really like it. It's not as high as it used to be, but I remember when my friend used to come over years and years and years ago when we used to have sleepovers when we were a lot younger, he would bring Jirachi Wishmaker over and we would watch it together, and I really wanted to own my own copy of that, and one day I did own my own copy, and I adored watching Jirachi Wishmaker. Such a good movie. Love it. I love the relationship that Jirachi has with the core cast in that movie as well. And you know my love for Generation 3. I do really like Gen 3. So for me, I am also going to put Jirachi up in great, mainly for nostalgia purposes and nostalgia reason, because I do really like Jirachi. Now we've got Deoxys, which Deoxys has many forms. It's got a speed form, an attack form, a defense form, but I have just summed up Deoxys in its just general form, which is quite a tough Pokemon to get your hands on. If you play like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you can get it through the DLC-esque type story, the post-game story that you get at the end, which was a nice addition to have in those games, because then it made it feel a bit more like Emerald, because there was more to do than just the generic Ruby and Sapphire stuff. And Deoxys is a really cool Pokemon. I love its design. The movie that it was in was pretty good as well. And I love all its forms. My favourite form is definitely attack form Deoxys. I do like speed form and defence form and all as well, but I really love the attack form. But Deoxys for me is definitely going up in one of the best because I just love him through and through. Then we've got Fione or Fione. Now, I always forget that Fione exists because I mostly just think of Manaphy, and I think a lot of us Pokemon fans also do tend to forget about Fione. Let's be real, you forget about Fione a lot. And yeah, I'm just like, you are just such a diet version of Manaphy. It is basically a baby form of Manaphy, let's be real. You can actually breed to get a Fione, and it is just a weaker form of Manaphy. I'm fairly certain all of Fione's stats are either 70 or 80, correct me if I'm wrong. And then Manaphy's are 100, I think. I could be completely wrong there, but I feel like I've seen that somewhere. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Fione. It looks cute, but it is pointless. So for me personally, and people might hate me for this, I am putting Fione down in meh, because I'm like, you are just basically a diet Manaphy. Which, speaking of Manaphy, Manaphy is great. I do like Manaphy. I am going to put Manaphy also up in great. I think it's cute. It's definitely, obviously, 10 times better than Fione. The movie that it was a part on was also nostalgic for me. Another movie that I was desperate to watch when my friend used to bring it over on DVD back in the day. And yeah, I've used Manaphy a fair few times. It is very solid. And yeah, I love it. Really good Pokemon. Darkrai. Now, this is probably going to be a bit of a bias for me here because The Rise of Darkrai was the very first ever Pokemon movie I watched, and still to this day is debatably my favourite Pokemon movie. I love Darkrai. Obviously, Darkrai got a bit more love in Legend ZA with a Mega Form, which you know my thoughts on the Mega Form of Darkrai if you've seen my ranking every DLC Mega. I'm not a big fan of his Mega. I think it does look a little bit silly. He does look like the big black Doomeye from Shadow the Hedgehog. But Darkrai as a Pokemon is cool. The event that you got to get Darkrai is cool. But yeah, I am glad he did get a bit more love, and he deserves to because he is one of the coolest Pokemon of all time. So, I mean, it may just be biased, but I've got to be honest, Darkrai is one of the best mythical Pokemon in my opinion. I think he deserves to be a legendary, if I'm perfectly honest. But I love Darkrai. Such a cool Pokemon, and I've used him multiple times, especially then in Legend ZA, and I've Mega Evolved him here and there. Then we got Shaymin, which does actually have two forms. You do have the Sky form as well. I do remember the Pokemon movie with Shaymin in. Found Shaymin to be incredibly annoying. I must admit, Shaymin Sky form is a lot cooler than regular Shaymin. But I can't deny I'm not a massive lover of Shaymin. I wouldn't say it's meh-worthy, but for me personally, I'm going to say Shaymin is just good. It's not quite in my heart like Mew, Celebi, Jirachi, and Manaphy to put it in great. But I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as Fione to put it in meh. So I think I'm going to put Shaymin, Shaymin Sky form in good, if I'm perfectly honest. Then we got Arceus. Now, Arceus is the Pokemon that, I mean, okay, I get why he's a mythical. You know, he is literally God. He is basically God of all Pokemon. So, okay, it does make sense. But I'm like, come on. If he is the God of all Pokemon and he's supposed to be the best, realistically, and he's supposed to have created everything, you know, I think he should have been legendary. But I can see why he's a mythical. And Legends ZA, brilliant, amazing game, by the way. I have done a video comparing Legends ZA and Legends Arceus. And Legends Arceus, even though it's my weaker of the two, is still a fantastic game that I've recently replayed. The Arceus movie was okay. It wasn't the best. But Arceus is so cool, being able to be basically any type it wants through the use of plates. I think is good. A vast, diverse move pool. Great stats. Cool design. You know, I can't deny Arceus for me is also going to go up in the best because he's God. He is the God of Pokemon. Come on now. So yeah, I'm going to put Arceus up in the best, in my personal opinion. Then we move into Gen 5. We've got Victini. Now, Victini is cute. Victini does have a cool S design. I like that its ears are basically in the V shape as well, of almost like its name and stuff like that. I think that is cool. But Victini is a mythical that I have very, very rarely used. Doesn't really pop into my head very often. I will say Victini is good. but I cannot say it goes any higher than good just through lack of use and lack of connection that I have to Victini. It's not exactly mare-worthy like Fiona, but I can't say it's any higher than good in my personal opinion. Then you got Keldeo, which Keldeo, again, is another Pokemon that I sort of kind of forget about. Doesn't really spring to mind, if I'm perfectly honest. People may hate me for this, but I'm really not a fan of Keldeo, and so for me, Keldeo is going in meh. Didn't like the movie that Keldeo was in, and I'm just not a fan of its design. I do partly forget about it. It doesn't spring to mind like Terrakion and Virizion and Cobalion and all do. Keldeo does get forgotten, so I'm not a massive fan of Keldeo. I'm sorry if people are offended by that, but yeah, he just doesn't do it for me personally. Meloetta, I think Meloetta is a cool Pokemon. I think Meloetta probably will go into good. I like the different form it has as well. It's cute. I like that it followed around Ash in the anime as well. But yeah, just doesn't do anything for me in terms of giving me a big spark to put it up in the greats or the best. You know, nostalgia does play a huge part for me when it comes to Pokemon as well. It's how much love and dedication and time I've put into either getting said mythical or legendary, and how much I've actually cared about it during its movie or during a playthrough. And Meloetta doesn't spring to mind as often as other ones. Genesect, on the other hand, I think is great. I love Genesect. I think Genesect is so cool, and I wish it got more. I feel like Genesect would really be cool for a Mega. I don't know why, but I just feel like a Mega form of Genesect would be really cool. It's got an amazing Shiny, by the way, as well. Shiny Genesect is sick. But yeah, I think Genesect is really, really cool. And so I'd highly recommend it. The movie that's in as well. I think it was that movie that introduced Mega Mewtwo Y. I believe Mega Mewtwo Y was in that movie, which gave us our first little hint towards Mega Evolution back in the day. We're talking years and years ago now. What? 2013 was when X and Y came out. So we're talking like 2012-ish. I mean, to think that was like 14 years ago is absolutely baffling to me. But yeah, I do like Genesect. I think Genesect is a great Pokemon. Then we have got Diancie, which also got a Mega Pokemon. Diancie is cool, but again, doesn't necessarily spring to mind like others do. I think Diancie's good. The Mega is really cool. But just, yeah, it just doesn't spring to mind for me. I like it. It's got a good type combination as well. And the movie that it was a part of what was interesting. But yeah, again, doesn't spring to mind, but it is good. It is good. I have used it a couple of times, but I can't deny it's not a truly memorable one for me. Hooper, Hooper Unbound. Now, the Hooper Clash of Ages movie was a really, really interesting movie, a really, really good movie, and I really did enjoy that movie. Not quite on the level of like Rise of Darkrai or Jirachi Wishmaker or the OG trilogy of Pokemon movies like the Entei movie and stuff like that, but it did really bring back a bit of nostalgia for me. I think Hooper Unbound is really, really cool. He was really scary in the movie. And obviously Hooper has become more prevalent again now due to the DLC of Legend ZA, using Hooper to travel into the other Lumiose dimension. But I do like Hooper. I think, and this is probably more of a personal one for me, I think Hooper probably is one of the best Mythicals. It is a memorable Mythical. Its design always springs to my head when I think of Mythicals. I can always picture him with his little rings as well. And now, obviously, like I said, with the DLC with donuts and everything as well. But yeah, I really do like Hooper and Hooper Unbound. I think it is really, really good. And I love that in the Hooper Unbound, the movie that he's in, Clash of Ages, you have like all the legendary Pokemon as well, like Kyogre and Groudon and all of them, Regigigas, they all pop up to try and take on Hooper. And it's like, wow, and they just can't do anything against him. Then we have got Volcanion. I think he's got a really cool design, and in the movie he's in, he's really, really good. I quite like Volcanion. I'm going to put him up in great. But obviously he doesn't seem to get enough attention, and you would hope that, well, you would have hoped that maybe in Legend ZA they might have brought him back a little bit more, but they just sort of again let Volcanion go to the sidelines, and he's not really been given any new forms or buffs or new forms. You know, he just sort of kind of gets forgotten about. And I tend to find that with like legendaries and mythicals post Gen 5. Debatably even Gen 5, but definitely post Gen 5. Like Gen 6 onwards, the legendaries and mythicals definitely don't tend to get enough love or attention. It definitely seems to be just Gens 1 to 4. I mean, in my opinion, they are probably some of the best in terms of the mythicals and legends, but they do tend to just get forgotten about, and it is such a shame, and it doesn't feel like enough creativity is going into them anymore, and that is a shame to me as well. But I like Volcanion. I like the type combination as well. Water-Fire is a great type combo. And I don't believe Fire and Water has been used again since. Yeah, I'm fairly certain. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Volcanion is the only Fire-Water type. Then we got Magearna, which I'm not a fan of Magearna. I'm sorry, this is also going to really annoy some people, but I'm not a fan of Magearna. Yeah, Magearna just, is just sort of there for me personally. Dull, bit boring, bland. Reminds me a bit of Diancie, but I think Diancie is a little bit better than Magearna. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of Magearna. Marshadow is cool. Marshadow is cool. I really like Marshadow. I wouldn't quite say he's the best, but I would put Marshadow, based on how sick Marshadow looks. And I love the design, the 2 different colour schemes as well, when he gets his green colour and all as well. I think Marshadow is great, and they did a good job with Marshadow. So I'm definitely going to be putting Marshadow up in great. But yeah, I wish, again, Marshadow got more to do. Got a bit of a movie, but, you know, can we get a little bit more from Marshadow, especially in the games as well? Maybe in future games, Marshadow will get a little bit more love again as well. Then we got Zeraora, which got a Mega, by the way, which the Mega looks exactly like Luxray. It's the Luxray colour scheme. I think Zeraora is also great. I would say cool and sick, but just needs something a bit more. It's just there's no meat to the bone with some of these. They are just sort of, oh, by the way, here's a new mythical. This is what they look like. This is their type. Here you go. Whereas back in the day, it used to be you get a hint of them in like the anime and in the movies, and they'd make a big deal. They'd make events based on them. But now it's just sort of introducing our brand new mythical, Zeraora, and then there you go. And then about a week later, you sort of, oh yeah, that was a thing. And you just forget about it, and I feel like that's the case nowadays with Pokemon legendaries and mythicals. I miss when they were a massive deal, because they should be. Mythicals and legendaries are not as common as normal Pokemon and need to be made a bigger deal of, if I'm honest. Which is a shame. Then you've got Meltan and Melmetal. Now, I have never used Meltan and Melmetal, because I have, and I know this is going to shock some people, but I have never played Pokemon Go. I'm not a massive fan of the mobile games. The closest I've got to playing Pokemon Go is obviously Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, which tried to use part of the Pokemon Go mechanic into the game. I just not a massive fan of the mobile games, so I've actually never played Pokemon Go, so I've never actually used Melmetal or Meltan. So, I mean, I'm only going to judge them based on their design, and based on their design, I'm going to say that Melmetal is good, and Meltan, no, I'll be nice. I'll put them both in good, but, like, if I'm honest, debatably Meltan could go down into meh. But I can't exactly put it, you know, any higher, if I'm honest, because I've never played Pokemon Go. Then we've got the 2 newest of the mythical Pokemon. We've got Zarude, and I had to write this one down because I completely forgot its name, and also I might butcher the pronunciation. Peturant. Yeah, these 2 are weird. These 2 are weird as hell. If I'm honest, I'm not a massive fan of Peturant. If I'm honest, I think, yeah, it looks cute, but it's kind of just meh for me. I'm not a massive fan of it. But Zarude, I think, is good. I think he's definitely better out of the 2 of them. But yeah, the Grass Monkey, you know, yeah. They just don't do anything for me anymore. That's the problem. And I just think Mythicals need to be shown a lot more love and appreciation, like they used to back in the day with Gens 1 to 4 and a little bit here and there of Gens 5 and 6. You know, I don't think they get enough love anymore. But yeah, so my opinions are probably going to vastly differ on most people for mythical Pokemon, but that is going to be my list ranking every single mythical Pokemon. And I hope you did enjoy this video. And if you did, please like it by giving it a thumbs up and comment down below your thoughts on what your favourite mythical Pokemon are. But keep all comments respectful, please. And subscribe if you are new. But for now, this is Nerdy Girl signing off. I hope you've had an amazing day, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now, everyone.